Dad texted, "We're keeping Christmas small. No kids this year." My daughter asked, "So Grandpa doesn't like us?" I hugged her and said, "He'll remember who keeps the lights on." I replied, "Understood." They were laughing in the group chat showing off the feast I funded, until the surprise hit that night. Dad texted me, "We're keeping Christmas small this year. Just adults. No kids." That was it. No hello. No explanation. No softness. Just a flat little sentence that shifted the entire holiday. My kids weren't invited. His grandkids. I just sat there reading it over and over. My thumb hovered above the screen like it would make a difference. I already knew what it meant. The whole family had decided behind my back to cut my kids out of Christmas. And the kicker? I was the one who organized it. I had booked the venue weeks ago. Same restaurant as always. My friend Alice owns the place and gives me a generous discount every year. I arranged the entire menu: lobster bisque, carving station, wine pairings, vegan options for my cousin's new lifestyle, 3-tier dessert spread. I even handled the decor. Special garlands, customized table cards, little gift bags for each person. Not that anyone asked me to. They just assumed. Like always. I run my own business and I've done well for myself. Ever since Mom passed, Christmas sort of fell into my lap. No one said it out loud, but it became my job to hold the holidays together. I paid for everything: food, decorations, drinks, even transportation for some of the older relatives. The only thing they ever brought was an opinion. So I started organizing early October thinking nothing had changed. But something had changed, clearly. They had decided I was welcome but not my kids. I didn't reply for a while. Ava came into the room, all excited, asking about her dress for the dinner. I couldn't look her in the eye. I just told her that we might be doing something different this year. She asked, "So Grandpa doesn't like us?" That one hurt. I hugged her and said, "He'll remember who keeps the lights on." Then I picked up my phone and texted back, "Understood." And that was it. I didn't go. I stayed home with my kids. We made cookies, watched a movie, and pretended it was just another night. Meanwhile, the group chat started filling with pictures. My aunt took a photo of the restaurant's entrance, all lit up and warm-looking. My cousin posted a boomerang of wine pouring into one of the glasses I had chosen myself. Even my dad sent a blurry shot of everyone sitting at the long decorated table. My table. They were all there, laughing, feasting, on my dime. And not one of them noticed I wasn't in any of the photos. They assumed I was paying. That I had agreed to be disrespected, pushed aside, and still fund their fun without question. That's when I called Alice. She knew something was wrong the moment she picked up. I told her everything. She said, "Say the word." I told her to cancel the payment and let them handle the bill themselves. No warning. No heads up. Just a silent pull of the financial rug. Then I sat back and waited. Alice didn't even hesitate. She knew the deal already. I'd wired the deposit in full 2 weeks prior. Enough to cover the entire banquet and then some. We always kept it quiet between us. Nobody in my family ever knew I paid for everything. They just assumed things appeared. Napkins folded like swans. Holiday menus printed with everyone's names. Seasonal cocktails. Gifts for the kids under the tree. They thought the restaurant loved having us, that we were just such a charming bunch. The owners must be giving us the VIP treatment out of pure goodwill. Alice told me, "All right, I'll flag the bill unpaid. You sure you want to go through with this?" I said, "Let's see how they handle the bill." Then I went quiet. Meanwhile, they kept posting. Someone posted a group shot, raising their glasses under the chandelier. I spotted my stepmother right in the center, beaming like the Queen of Christmas. My cousin snapped a video of the dessert spread and wrote, "Brittany killed it again this year." Like I had anything to do with it, like I was even there. Not a single person noticed I hadn't shown up. Or maybe they had and just didn't care. Either way, I waited. According to Alice, they started really going for it around the third course. Extra bottles of wine. Additional sides. Someone asked if they could open the dessert table early. Of course, Alice said yes. She knew exactly what was coming. The entire time they were under the impression the bill was already paid. That's what my dad probably told them. That's what they all assumed. But the payment had been reversed that morning. I had Alice cancel it and set a pay-on-site policy for the evening. I wasn't petty enough to ruin the dinner. I just wanted them to own it. And when it was all winding down, when they were full and happy and tossing on their coats, Alice walked over with the bill. Nearly $4,800. No one reached for their wallet. There was this long, awkward silence before my dad finally spoke up, saying, "There must be a mistake. My daughter already covered everything." Alice kept it professional. Told him the reservation was listed as unpaid. Explained that the person who made the original payment had retracted it. That any arrangements made had been cancelled. He didn't take it well. He called me. I let it go to voicemail. He didn't leave a message. Then he texted, "What the hell is going on?" I didn't respond. Alice told me later that he got loud. Embarrassed. My aunt was panicking. My cousin actually tried to argue with the staff, saying the food was overpriced, asking if they could remove the dessert course. Keep in mind they had already eaten every bite. My dad ended up paying the entire thing with his credit card. Swiped it without another word. He was red-faced the whole time. Alice said he wouldn't look anyone in the eye after that. He must have assumed I'd reimburse him. And I knew that assumption would bring him right to my door. He showed up the next morning. Didn't call first. Didn't ask if I was home. Just pulled up in his car and rang the bell like it was any other day. I was still in pajamas, kids watching cartoons behind me. I opened the door and stood there waiting. He didn't even say hi. First thing out of his mouth. "You embarrassed me in front of the entire family." I didn't say anything. I let him stand there and squirm. He was holding his phone in one hand and a folded-up receipt in the other. I didn't have to ask what it was. "You were supposed to handle the dinner. Everyone knows you always do. What were you thinking pulling something like that?" Still nothing from me. Then came the kicker. He said he had to put it all on his credit card, and he expected me to reimburse him. Said it like it was obvious. Like I was late on some invoice. Like this was all my fault for changing things last minute. And when I reminded him, calmly, that he was the one who told me my kids weren't welcome, that he was the one who decided to cut us out of Christmas, his tone changed. He said that wasn't personal. Not personal. He tried to frame it as a family decision to keep things calm and quiet this year, that they wanted something more elegant. And apparently that meant no children. Not just mine, all of them. But let's be real. I was the only one with kids young enough to notice. I told him I wasn't paying him back. That if he wanted to foot the bill for a dinner he excluded us from, that was his problem. He started yelling. Said I humiliated him. Said people were whispering about it, that the family was confused, that he looked like a fool. And there was not a word about my kids. Not a word about why I didn't come. No apology. No regret. Just shame. Not for what he did. For how it made him look. He said I owed him because I always pay. That people expected it. That I was selfish to change that without warning. I asked him if he ever stopped to think about what it felt like, getting that message 3 days before Christmas. I asked if he'd even noticed I wasn't there. That my kids weren't there. He didn't answer. He just stood there with that receipt waiting. So I closed the door. Didn't slam it. Just closed it. He stayed on the porch for a minute, then finally walked back to his car. He hasn't spoken to me since. No apology. No explanation. No refund request either. I guess he figured out that wasn't going anywhere. But here's the thing. That dinner, that little stunt they pulled, it was just the beginning. Because for the first time in years I realized something. I didn't need to keep paying to be tolerated. And they had just lost their bank. The group chat went dead silent after that night. For almost a week, not a single message. Not a meme, not a photo, not even a Merry Christmas. Total blackout. That might not sound strange for most families, but for mine it was suspicious. These people could find a reason to post about a salad. If no one was saying anything, it meant they were talking somewhere else. Probably without me. I didn't care. I really didn't. But it still annoyed me. Because I knew exactly what was happening. They were spinning it. Trying to figure out how to make it my fault. Then the texts started trickling in. Not to me directly, but little things dropped into the chat. My aunt sent a blurry photo from the dinner and captioned it. Despite the confusion, we made the best of it, red heart. Confusion. That's what they were calling it now. Not a betrayal. Not a deliberate exclusion of my kids. Just a little confusion. Then my cousin chimed in. Glad we all came together in the end. Beautiful night. Let's do it again next year. Maybe a potluck though. All. Potluck. Right. Because now that they had to actually pay for one night, Suddenly the tradition of a luxury restaurant was too much. No one addressed what actually happened. Not one person asked me why I wasn't there. No one asked how my kids were. They all just posted vague, passive-aggressive crap and hoped I'd fall in line again by next year. I didn't reply. Not because I was hurt. I was done with that part. I just didn't feel the need to explain myself anymore. I had spent years smoothing things over, taking the blame, filling gaps where other people fell short. And for what? So they could laugh over food I paid for while telling me to leave my kids at home? No thanks. The real twist came a few days after New Year's. Alice called me. She sounded hesitant but curious. She asked if I wanted to know what else happened that night. I said sure. Turns out my dad tried to file a dispute on the restaurant charge with his credit card company. Said it was unauthorized. Yeah. He actually tried to get the money back. Alice sent over a scan of the signed receipt with his name at the bottom. She said the credit card company rejected the claim almost immediately, but she wanted me to know, just in case he ever tried to spin the story around. I laughed. Not because it was funny, but because it was so predictable. They didn't just want a free meal. They wanted control. They wanted to dictate who mattered and who didn't, who was invited and who was ignored, and still have me foot the bill. It was never about money. It was about power. But they messed with the wrong daughter this time. By mid-January I started hearing things. Not from the group chat. That was still mostly quiet except for the occasional forwarded joke or recycled meme. But from people on the edges. My cousin Melissa called me out of the blue, and not to check on me or the kids. She said she just wanted to clear the air because people are starting to talk. I asked, talk about what? And she hesitated for a full 5 seconds. Then she said, some people are saying you just didn't want to come. That you were mad about something before the dinner and that's why you canceled the payment. That's when it clicked. They weren't just pretending the dinner was a misunderstanding. They were actively rewriting the story. They were telling people I bailed. That I abandoned the family out of spite. That I left everyone high and dry in the middle of Christmas out of some childish tantrum. Melissa even slipped and said, well, I get why you were mad about the invite thing, but you know how it is, not everyone wants kids around fancy events. I stopped her right there. I told her I'd planned the entire thing with kids in mind. That the gift bags included coloring books, that the dessert table had extra items made for little ones with allergies, that I'd personally ordered booster seats for the table. I told her that I didn't bail, I was disinvited. She went quiet, tried to backpedal. I ended the call. But I knew what was happening now. They weren't just trying to forget what they did. They were preparing a version of the story that would protect them. A version where I was the difficult one, the dramatic one. The one who overreacted and ruined Christmas out of nowhere. And what got me wasn't even the lies. It was how comfortable they were doing it. Like they'd done this kind of thing before. Like it was normal for them to change the ending if it didn't make them look good. That's when I realized something I hadn't wanted to admit. They'd probably always been like this. The silent expectations. The entitlement. The way I was always supposed to pay and smile and be grateful for being tolerated. I thought I was the one holding the family together. But maybe I was just the one getting used. Later that week my dad sent another text. Not in the group chat, directly to me. It said, we need to talk. I think it's time we clear this up before things get worse. We all made mistakes, but you overreacted. That one line, you overreacted, hit harder than anything else. No apology. No ownership. No mention of the kids. Just a neat little bow on the narrative he was building. That I was the problem. I didn't reply. Instead, I went back through years of old messages. Birthday planning. Thanksgiving catering. Graduation parties. All the events I paid for, organized, cleaned up after. All the times they let me handle it and then took the credit. I scrolled through photos of my daughter handing out gifts at last year's Christmas dinner. My son in his little reindeer sweater. The ones they didn't want this year. And I made a decision. Next year there would be no group dinner. No reservation. No menus or desserts or surprise wine upgrades. Next year I was taking my kids on a trip. Somewhere far. Somewhere warm. Somewhere they were wanted. Let the family have their quiet, elegant dinner. Let them figure out what a real bill looks like. They could tell whatever story they wanted. I was finally done listening. February came and went without a word from my dad. Not even on Ava's birthday. That was the clearest message of all. He wasn't mad that I missed the dinner. He was mad that I didn't come crawling back afterward, didn't smooth things over like I always did. I think he really believed that if he gave it time I'd feel guilty. That I'd reach out, apologize, offer to cover the bill after all, maybe even offer to take the blame to calm the family down. That's how it usually went. They'd push, I'd bend. They'd exclude, I'd compensate. But I didn't bend this time. In fact, I got quieter. I muted the group chat. Stopped liking their photos. Stopped responding to just checking in texts that weren't actually checking in. And slowly they started to notice. One by one, people started reaching out not to apologize but to ask vague fishing questions. Hey, are we doing Easter like last year? Hey, have you thought about summer vacation yet? Hey, are you still in touch with Alice? It wasn't subtle. They were already looking ahead. Already laying the groundwork for the next family event, hoping I'd step back into the old role. The planner. The payer. The quiet wallet. I didn't respond. And then one day I got a message from Alice. It was a screenshot. Someone from my family, I won't name who, had reached out to book the restaurant for next Christmas. They asked about the same package I always put together. The wine, the carving station, the dessert bar. They even asked if the gift bags would still be included. Alice replied politely, said she'd check availability. But then she messaged me directly and asked, "Do you want me to tell them you're not involved?" I told her not to say anything. Let them plan it. Let them realize what things actually cost. Let them figure out how to divide a 5-figure bill among a bunch of people who have no idea how much I'd been covering all these years. Because that was the part none of them understood. It was never just dinner. It was the time. The coordination. The fact that I always asked about allergies, preferences, seating. The way I made sure every kid had a gift with their name on it. The way I caught my dad once trying to tip a waiter with a 20 when I had already left a full gratuity in advance. They thought Christmas happened because we were close. Because we were tight-knit. But really it happened because I made it happen. And now it wasn't my job anymore. Ava asked me last week if we were going to Grandpa's next Christmas. I told her no. I told her we were going somewhere new. Just us. Maybe somewhere with a beach. She asked if we could still have presents and cookies. I said of course. She smiled and then she said, "I hope Grandpa still has fun without us." And honestly, I hope so too. Because I'm not angry anymore. Just done. They wanted a small Christmas. Now they've got one.